Part 1. Land of the First Peoples, before colonization. Long before the name Argentina existed, this land was home to a rich tapestry of indigenous cultures. From the high Andean northwest to the windswept plains of Patagonia, groups like the Evita, Mapuche, Guarani, and Wichi lived in balance with nature. They built trade networks, practiced agriculture, and developed unique languages, cosmologies, and art. While they did not leave behind grand stone cities, their cultural depth and spiritual connections to the land laid the unseen foundations of the country that would one day rise. Argentina began not with conquest or politics, but with the heartbeat of ancient peoples, a legacy that still lives in the soil, rivers, and memory of the nation. Part 2. Spanish arrival and the birth of colonial rule, 1516 to 1580. In 1516, Spanish explorer Juan Díaz de Solís entered the Rio de la Plata estuary, and the age of colonization began. Driven by the lure of silver and a route to the Indies, the Spanish attempted several failed settlements before finally establishing Buenos Aires in 1580. This marked the birth of what would become New Spain in the southern cone. The indigenous peoples resisted, but over time were subdued by disease, war, and forced labor. Catholic missions spread across the land, and the Spanish crown established strict colonial rule. The region was marginal compared to other colonies, but its people, both native and Creole, began to develop a unique identity. From the beginning, Argentina was a land of tension between the old and new, the colonizer and the colonized. Part 3. The rise of Buenos Aires and the seeds of revolution, 1600s, 1810. During the 17th and 18th centuries, Buenos Aires evolved from a sleepy outpost into a vital port for trade, legal and otherwise. As smuggling thrived and wealth grew, the city became a hub of cultural exchange and political thought. In 1776, the Spanish crown created the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata, giving Buenos Aires new authority over present-day Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay, and Uruguay. But cracks began to form. Local Creoles grew resentful of Spanish control. Enlightenment ideals and the example of the American and French Revolutions spread. When Napoleon invaded Spain, weakening its empire, the moment arrived. In May 1810, the people of Buenos Aires took control, forming a revolutionary government, the May Revolution. A new era had begun. Part 4. Independence and the Wars of Liberation, 1810 to 1824. The revolution sparked a fierce and bloody war for independence. Leaders like Manuel Belgrano and José de San Martín emerged as symbols of sacrifice and courage. San Martín, a brilliant military strategist, led the daring Andean campaign, crossing into Chile and marching north to help liberate Peru. Meanwhile, internal battles raged over how the new nation should be governed. On July 9, 1816, the Congress of Tucumán officially declared Argentina's independence. But unity was elusive. The dream of a stable republic would be challenged for decades. The cost of freedom was high, not just in lives lost, but in the deep divisions sown between centralists and federalists, liberals and conservatives. Part 5. Trial by Fire, Wars, Identity, and the Road to Independence. The 20th century was a defining era for Canada's national identity. Canada fought bravely in both world wars, earning global respect and fostering pride at home. The Battle of Vimy Ridge in 1917, led entirely by Canadian forces, became a symbol of unity and strength. Following World War II, Canada pushed for full sovereignty. In 1931, the Statute of Westminster granted legal independence in most affairs. However, it wasn't until 1982 that Canada fully broke legal ties with Britain through the Canada Act, and the Constitution was patriated. This also included the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, enshrining civil liberties and human rights. At the same time, internal challenges intensified, Quebec's independence movement surged, and Indigenous communities began demanding justice, land rights, and recognition. Canada was maturing, not just politically, but morally, grappling with the darker aspects of its history. Part 7. Perón, Dictatorship, and Modern Argentina, 1930, present. The 20th century brought deep upheaval. In 1930, the first military coup ended democratic rule. In 1946, Juan Domingo Perón rose to power with promises of labor rights, social justice, and national dignity. With his wife Evita, he created a political movement, Peronism, that reshaped Argentina forever. Loved by the working class, hated by elites, Perón was overthrown in 1955 but returned in 1973 before dying in office. What followed was Argentina's darkest era, the military dictatorship, 1976 to 1983, during which thousands of people were disappeared in the dirty war. Democracy returned in 1983, but challenges remained: economic collapse, inflation, and political division. Today, Argentina continues to fight for equality, justice, and unity. A country of passion, resilience, and memory, Argentina's history is still being written with every generation. Part 5. Civil Wars and the Struggle for National Identity, 1824 to 1862. Following independence, Argentina descended into internal conflict. The young nation fractured along regional lines. Unitarians wanted a strong central government in Buenos Aires, while Federalists demanded provincial autonomy. The most powerful and polarizing figure of this era was Juan Manuel de Rosas, who ruled Buenos Aires with authoritarian control from 1829 to 1852. His regime maintained order but crushed dissent. Argentina became a battleground of ideas, power, and identity. Finally, in 1862, after years of civil war, Bartolomé Mitre was elected the first president of a unified Argentina. The country adopted a constitution modeled on the United States, and the dream of a true nation finally began to materialize.